We're here. We did it, everybody. We did it.
Got here.
A very, very abbreviated edition of Smack Talk tonight. Rick Ucchino, SP3, Dutch Mantell, everybody who is joining us. We got a little bit to go over. Thankfully, there was no SmackDown tonight. I say thankfully. I would have preferred to have seen a SmackDown tonight. But seeing as we're going to be off here in a half hour, we don't want you guys hanging around with us at the ball drop. I don't want to have to kiss Dutch and this, that, and the other thing at midnight, So we're going to let you guys.
No, I don't want Rick trying to kiss me.
Yes. We're going to let everybody get to their celebrations. We're going to try and roll through things as quickly as possible. And yes, Elvis, man, 2021 just kicking us in the dick on the final day of the year.
I don't believe you can't say that.
I just did it.
Well,
White would have said it.
I said something about skanks and you almost had a heart attack. Did you say something about the little penises?
I might be a little drunk from UC's loss earlier today. I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I
would like to say that Rick Ucchino is sick right now because his University of Cincinnati team went down in defeat. And I think he's feeling actually worse than he needs to feel because I thought the team looked pretty good. They lost.
Yeah.
But they look pretty good.
Yeah. I'm 30. I'm going on 34 years old. Maybe one day I'll see one of my teams actually win a playoff game that I can remember.
Hey, my team won one time.
What was that?
They've won three titles.
Bowl? Did they win the Liberty Bowl?
Three titles, by the way, huh?
They won the Liberty Bowl this year? Or was that the Meineke Car Care Bowl? Which one they play in? I forget.
I don't know, but they won. What team did Bo did your team play in? But they lost. It doesn't matter.
We do appreciate everybody.
See how defensive he's getting said already.
No,
I put him over earlier. I said the team looked pretty good. Don't be too hard on them.
I'm trying not to waste time because we only got 30 minutes, 27 minutes now, and I know Sid is ready to pop off. We are going to talk about the top moments of 2021 for WWE because I got beef for the top 10 list that they have.
Do we have to?
Just real quick.
I would just say right off the bat, because this will be my only contribution to the conversation as far as the SmackDown show. I turned it on, and number 8 was Bobby Lashley beating Goldberg at SummerSlam. I turned it right back off, and I continued watching Cobra Kai.
If you looked at this, WWE apparently thinks that SummerSlam was just the best damn show of the year because 4 out of the top 10 moments happened at SummerSlam this year, including number 1, which was Brock Lesnar's return. Although John Cena's return didn't make the top 10. Yeah, it got an honorable mention. Just real quick, Randy Orton and Riddle winning the tag titles. No. Logan Paul getting stunned.
What?
Lashley beating Goldberg at SummerSlam. Nah. Charlotte winning her 12th title at SummerSlam. Nah. Bad Bunny at WrestleMania, number 6. Okay.
That deserves to be in the top 10.
Edge and Rollins at Hell in a Cell. 5. Okay. Here's where I got beef. Number 4, Sasha and Bianca at WrestleMania.
That should be number 1.
Number 4? That's number 4?
That should at least be in the top 3.
Number 1, guaranteed, slam dunk. I'm the biggest Becky Lynch homer in the world, but there's no way that her return at SummerSlam and beating Bianca should be number 3. I'm sorry, it shouldn't.
That's one of the worst moments of the year.
That was number 3. Big E cashing in Money in the Bank to win the WWE Championship, number 2.
Deserves to be in the top 10.
I would agree with number 2 on that. And Brock Lesnar returning at SummerSlam was number 1. John Cena returning at Money in the Bank should have been in there. How about Bobby Lashley winning the WWE Championship?
No, that was the thing that blew my mind with what I was watching because I saw the setup for the Goldberg Bobby Lashley being on this countdown, but it sounded like they were setting up Bobby Lashley winning the WWE title because they talked about the Almighty had a great year, so let's talk about the most almighty of his victories. So I was like, well, obviously it's him winning the WWE title. No, it's him versus Goldberg at SummerSlam. I was like, I'm turning this crap off. This is how am I supposed to believe that anyone with the brain chose this as the top 10 moments in WWE?
a referee decision to stop a match where literally everybody was quiet because we were scared that Goldberg was going to win the damn thing. Trust me, I was there. You could cut the tension in the building with a knife because everybody was like, please, for the love of God, don't put another championship on Goldberg. And we were all relieved when the bell rung and we're like, all right, move on to the next thing. It was nowhere close to a top 10 moment this year. I mean, Charlotte winning the 12th title instead of Nikki ASH winning her first. I'd put Nikki ASH cashing in over Charlotte winning her 12th. That's just me, though. There's a lot of other things I would have put in this top 10. But yes, for me, number one, hands down, just for what it meant and the moment that it created and being there. Hell, I'd put Montez Ford sliding into the ring and putting Bianca on her shoulders. That's enough to elevate that up to number one. That matchup should have been number one, hands down, slam dunk. Number four is highway robbery. Dutch, what are your thoughts on all this?
So you don't agree with any of it?
No, I do. I think they got the top five right-ish, but ish. I wouldn't put Brock Lesnar's return up there. I'd put John Cena's over Brock Lesnar, but
I'd put it above number one.
Some of this stuff makes no damn sense.
I'd make it actually zero. I'd make it out of the 10 going down. I'd make it zero.
Dutch, when did you start doing this show? You started doing it
after WrestleMania.
Why you tired of me?
No, I'm just asking.
Hey, I don't like that. I don't like that tone. Hey, when did you start doing this show?
You have said that
you
weren't keeping up with the product on a regular basis until you started doing this show. So since you started watching the product on a regular basis this year, what was the top moment for you in all of WWE this year?
The one I remember this. Roman Reigns firing Paul Heyman. Even though it was quick and brief, that was the stunner.
Now,
it wasn't even a match. It was just a turn that we've been waiting on and waiting on. We've been waiting on it 6 months. Yay or nay? And then he finally says, I love you, Paul. You're fired.
Now, are you saying that you remember that because it's the most memorable, or are you saying that because it just happened last week?
No, it's the most memorable, I think. Because that changes the whole thing. Right?
Yep.
They saved the best for last.
See? That's what I think. What do you think the most memorable was?
Oh, for me, hands down, it was not Becky. Bianca and Sasha at WrestleMania main event night one. For me, that was it. That was it, hands down, number one.
But don't you think that was more disappointing than?
No.
I mean, it didn't elevate anybody.
It elevated Bianca.
It was her first major title win.
Yeah.
Oh, when she won, not when she
won
lost.
at WrestleMania.
No, when she won.
Yes, that's right.
No, he flubbed his words. He's always trying to give praise to Becky Lynch, and he just forgot that he's supposed to be upset about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was happy when Becky returned. For me, that was a great moment. I was happy to be there in person. And then it went downhill very, very fast when that match was 26 seconds long.
Okay. It did.
That's my thought process. So if we just wanted to stop it at Becky Lynch returning, yeah, great. That was a great moment for me personally. Love the fact that I mean,
they could have still had Becky win, but make it longer and at least give her a fighting chance. And she lost.
If she cheats, she cheats. That's fine. But the 26
she could have cheated at the 5-minute mark or that 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
Instead of the 26-second mark.
Even if it was 5 minutes and she decides to cheat, it makes Bianca look so much better than that.
I think that cheats your fans that have stayed with you all these years or all these months.
And
if I saw that, I would say, who in the hell booked this crap?
And we've seen as a result, although Becky Lynch is doing great work, like just in a vacuum, she's doing great work for what she's been given. They don't respond to her as a heel still because they never responded to her as a heel. They booed it and they responded on social media to that moment at SummerSlam. It was booing the booking. It was criticizing the booking. No one wants to boo Becky Lynch. It's booing the company.
Man, if you could flip crowd reactions, I think WWE and AEW would take this trade. If they could get the Becky Lynch reactions for Cody Rhodes and the Cody Rhodes reactions for Becky Lynch, I think the companies would make that flip. I really, really think they would.
Not right now, no. If you said this maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, then yeah, I agree with you. But AEW have 100% acknowledged what the reaction Cody Rhodes is getting, and Cody Rhodes is 100% playing into the reaction he is getting. So it's totally different from what WWE is doing with Becky Lynch right now.
So we do have to get into Rampage.
So what do you think? Wait a minute. Let me ask you this. I don't want to go past that 30-minute magical
we
mark.
got 20 minutes.
But what do you think? What do you think Cody is really working for? Is he just going to organically turn heel, which he is right now?
I think that he is playing up this oblivious face to be a heel character, and I think that he is because if you look at tonight's matchup, Ethan Page, who is probably, if you gave him the opportunity, one of the better heels on the roster for AEW, he worked that match like a babyface. If Dutch, you know more about wrestling than me, but when I'm watching that match, I was like, who's coming across as a babyface? It's the guy working with the knee injury, working from underneath, making the comeback. The fans are cheering for him. It was Ethan Page in this match, so that it's very evident to me that AEW and Cody are playing into the reaction he's getting right now.
Well, speaking of AEW tonight, I would like to say that girls match, that female match, was off the charts.
Off the chain.
Off the friggin' charts.
I can't count how many times I screamed out obscenities. Maybe every couple of seconds. I
thought you were a Christian. I thought you were a Christian man, right? You're drinking, cussing, no matter what else, gambling probably.
It's a holiday. No,
that was a very good match. And the color, the juice.
Added a lot.
Surprise. It was it. Now, how many times would you see, WWE wouldn't even think about it? Nothing about it. That little bunny girl, I had her with me in TNA. I don't know
she was the MVP.
I don't know who put that match together, but it was very well laid out. And that one girl missed that table that didn't break. I think that other girl had a busted face.
Yeah, Ty got the worst of that. But you say the bunny was the MVP. I thought this was hands down the best performance we've seen out of Penelope Ford. I mean, she was firing on all cylinders tonight too. I was very, very impressed by her. Straight out of the gate when she hit that pump kick, I'm like, oh, she brought it tonight, and then she just kept going. I mean,
nobody expected that match.
No, because this feud has gone on for nearly almost a year, pretty much. Like, they just dragged this feud on and on, but AEW does a good job of blowing off their feuds, and this was an example of that. The reason why I gave Bunny the credit for being the MVP of this match, when you look at the match, all the dangerous spots, it was Bunny taking it. Yeah, she was the one. She was the one taking outside of the Gotch power driver, which I will give Tay and Penelope credit for that Gotch power driver off the apron through the table. Like, there is just so many memorable spots in my head. The moonsault with the table not breaking was dangerous as hell. The tax to the back. Oh my god.
The superplex.
There was one thing I refused to do in wrestling, and that was have a tack match. I wasn't doing it. I said I can't stand anything sharp like a needle going into me. I just couldn't do it. I said, hey guys, if you want me to do that, fire me. I'm not doing it.
I don't know the kind of mindset it takes to do thumbtacks or glass. To have glass get just shards.
No, I won't do that either.
Yeah, no.
Now, what I don't mind is hot coals. I don't mind that, I can take that.
These ladies were actually doing that in this match because of the broken bottle.
Let me ask you something. Do you think the bunny actually did the deal?
She definitely bladed, and it was a harsh blade. Like, literally, I would say
not necessarily a harsh one.
But
you got it in the right spot.
Yeah, coming back from commercial break and seeing that crimson mass that Bunny had, I literally got up from my couch, stood up, and watched the last few minutes of the match. I couldn't sit down. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. That was a great match. Like, the AEW women deliver in these hardcore matches. They deliver one of the greatest Dynamite matches ever, and now this.
Yeah, they left those WWE girls in the dust.
I thought this
Really.
was the spot for me though. I love the finish where Anna Jay wraps her arm in barbed wire and then hits the Queen Slayer
good.
on the bunny. I'm like, that was perfect. That was just an absolute perfect finish. It's like,
Yeah, they called me and wanted to know what to do, and I told them.
Totally, yes.
I said,
yes.
use some barbed wire around the guillotine deal. That's what they said.
I love even if it was a mistake or not, I don't care. I love Bunny slipping on the tags before she took the choke. That was just perfect. That was perfect. Even if it wasn't done on purpose, I like them just going to the
You
finish
couldn't do that.
right
You
after
couldn't do that.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that on purpose. Because she would land in some delicate areas, which she did, and then it was over.
Was full of tacks. Her ass was full of tacks at the end of that match.
Yep. Full of tacks.
Happy New Year, everybody. Well, this match was taped on Wednesday. Hard act to follow for Cody and Ethan Page tonight. Heel versus heel match.
Listen, how did that match end? I had to come in here and get on this thing.
Cody hit a couple of crossroads and then hit the
Tiger Driver 98.
Yeah, Tiger Driver 98.
And that's it.
So Ethan looked really, really good in defeat. He ate a lot of offense in this matchup. So they made him look good. Look, Ethan Page is going to be a champion in AEW sooner rather than later. I mean, he's really freaking good. And from everything that I've heard, he's one of the good guys in wrestling. So this guy is going to get his flowers one day. Now wasn't the right time, especially with Cody just getting the title back. But this was a good showing for him tonight. And it was a tough match to follow for these guys. But I thought they delivered. And overall, I thought all the rest.
Well, they had a good show. They did have a good show tonight.
And I would rank it higher than SmackDown.
I would tell Tony Khan to please go get Darby Allin a sandwich. Let him eat something. He weighs 160 pounds.
I'm glad you brought up Tony Khan. The sandwich joke aside, because my man Sid has got some things to say to Tony Khan tonight, because ahead of Rampage this evening, Tony Khan stepped in it. Unnecessarily stepped in it. I mean, this is a guy who dug a hole, put a landmine in it, covered it up with the dirt, and then purposefully stepped on it. This was 100% his own doing tonight, responding to an interview that Big Swole did. Big Swole no longer with AEW, a mutual parting with the company. Said, I forget who she did the interview with. I know Tony Khan retweeted the Fightful article on it, but she basically ran down what it was that she did not like about AEW. A lot of it had to deal with representation in the company. She talked about her daughter not seeing anybody like her in the main event scene in AEW, and started watching more of WWE with Bianca Belair in the main event scene, with Bobby Lashley in the main event scene, with Big E in the main event scene this year. And that was one of the big driving forces behind that, along with a few other things. But it was that in particular, the treatment of the women's division as a whole and representation in the company. And then Tony Khan took it upon himself this evening to send out one of the most tone-deaf tweets I've seen in quite some time. I'm gonna let you have the floor. Why don't you say what exactly it was that Tony decided to say in response to Big Swole's comments, and I would love to get your thoughts on this, sir. I'm just going to sit back and let you have the floor.
So to quote Mr. Anthony Khan, Tony Khan, or as we've been calling him over on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel on AE Ramble, after this week's Dynamite, before this tweet even came out, we started calling him Antoine Khan as a little joke. But after this tweet, I mean, it's just funny. He said, and I quote, in the quote tweet to the Fightful article about what Big Swole had to say, saying that he says, the top two at AEW execs are Brown, me, and Mega. Jade, Bowens, Caster, Dante, Nyla, Isaiah, Mark Quinn, all won on TV this month. The TBS title tournament has been very diverse. I let Big Swole's contract expire as I felt her wrestling wasn't good enough. Hashtag AEW Rampage Street Fight tonight.
I love that he put a promo in there at the end.
I mean, I have so much to say. I was told by the powers that be they wanted to hear Dutch Mantell's thoughts first.
Wait a minute, I'm not getting into this. I don't give a crap what they do.
I appreciate you giving me the floor, Dutch. I appreciate you. But to respond to this is just incredibly tone deaf. And if wrestling fans don't realize, this is microaggression. This is when a stigmatized basically group speaks up about their culture not being representative or having the type of diversity that they are looking for, and someone comes back at them with type of negativity or just type of like derogatory comments like this. Like, if the first part of the tweet, okay, if that's the point that you wanted to get across, that there is representation, there is diversity in AEW, if you feel that way, that's great. There's a side of me that feels that up and down the card, there is a lot of diversity in AEW. Unfortunately, when you look at their main event scene, there is not. When it comes to, as an African-American professional wrestling fan and a fan of AEW, I don't see anyone that represents me in the main event scene of AEW. I just don't. I see Powerhouse Hobbs sometimes on TV. I see Ricky Starks on Rampage on commentary. I don't see these guys in the main event. Dante Martin getting a main event on Winter is Coming felt great. But when you look at your whole entire TNT run, I can count the amount of times that African American has been in the main event of a Dynamite episode. That is telling. That's alarming for a company that came out the box in 2019 and said they were going to be different. Said that they were going to have some type of representation that we didn't see before in the WWE. Yes, it took the WWE 50 years to get to the point that they are, but they're at a point that 2 African-American women main evented WrestleMania this year. They're at the point that the current WWE champion is African-American. They're at the point that the last WWE champion is African-American. It is now, you're going into year 3 of AEW. There has not been any African-Americans that have been AEW world champion, and only one African-American has even got a shot at the title. It's telling. It's a problem. It's an issue. It's something that I've touched on this show, but to hear someone that was in the company and is saying the same things that I've touched on this show, I've never ranted about it like I'm ranting here, but it's very alarming, and it is an issue with your company, and you're supposed to take it and listen to us. And like you said, you listen to the fans, listen to us, African-American fans that are saying we don't have that representation and that diversity up on the card. You are not giving enough time to your women's wrestlers, regardless of race. That was the main point and the main just of this interview. If he would have listened to the interview and not just read the headline and quote tweeted while he's sipping on his champagne about to celebrate New Year's, maybe he would have got the point of her interview, because he totally missed the point. And then he had to come in and totally marginalize a woman that took a lot of bravery to even come out and say the things that she said. When you're a free agent, you don't have a contract, you don't know when your next check is going to come in 2022. It takes a lot of courage, a lot of pride, a lot of like just representing other people, because she didn't just represent African Americans with what she said. She mentioned Latinos, she mentioned Asians, and she says that there is a representation in AEW. She did mention the things that you mentioned pretty much in your tweet, Tony Khan, but you did not need to marginalize her the way you did by saying her wrestling wasn't good enough for you. There was no reason to put that in. That wasn't the point. It's just very disappointing. It's very disheartening. And as an African-American fan, I'm not going to like just sit down and just be quiet about it. I have a platform to speak, and I'm going to speak about it anytime I will and at any time I can. Tony Khan, you were supposed to represent professional wrestling fans. You're not representing a professional wrestling fan that looks like me after that tweet.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Here's the other thing. This is a quote from Tony Khan back in March of this year, talking about Big Swole. She's a great wrestler. She's got a great personality. I think in the ring, she's gotten better, and she can continue to get better. She has risen up. She had a great record in 2020. She reached the top contender at one point. She got a title shot. She didn't beat Shida, but she had a great match, and she's got a lot of great matches. I really like Swole. Okay, were you lying then, or are you lying now? Because you have been quoted saying that you have been a fan of her work at some point. So did she completely fall off a cliff Or did you not mean it back in March? Or do you not mean what you said now and you just got pissed off that she said something and then you got defensive? I'm probably thinking it's a bit of the
I'd fire her.
because well, she's not with the company anymore. But
Oh, I can't fire her?
No.
Okay.
You can hire her and then fire her, I guess. Here's the other thing. We've seen Tony Khan get defensive before. I was on a press call where Ella J asked a question about women's wrestling in AEW, and he cut her off, didn't even let her finish the question, and got so defensive and started talking about all the money he shelled out for NWA Empower and how gracious it was for him to send his talent over there and pay them to be there. Didn't even answer the question and just completely cut her off. He gets so defensive about certain things and then just starts firing off and has these bad looks.
Yes.
It is so much better because I can't speak to how you feel, Sid. I can say this much. It is better for people to think that you're a fool than for you to open your mouth and remove all doubt. And this is what Tony
Well, then I don't need
Khan
to say
does.
nothing then.
This is just what Tony Khan does, and he needs to just put the phone down and think before he tweets because I think he just goes so at any kind of constructive criticism. Any kind of constructive criticism whatsoever, he does not handle it well.
No.
He just doesn't. And this is one of a few high-profile incidents now that we have.
So Dutch, they wanted. Like I tried to put you on the spot, Dutch, but you know our bosses are even in the comments in the live chat. They have nothing to say about everything I said representing African American fans. I
could say some things, but let me ask you this: why would Swole feel entitled to get what she wants? How long has she been in the ring? How long has she been working?
I believe she's been working for about 6-7 years. I don't think it was about her wanting. I think that she was basically asked this question because it was like a call-in show.
So she took it outside wrestling as a company. She's looking at the company as a whole.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the diversity.
Yeah.
Not just her specifically.
Yeah.
Well, I may agree with her, I guess. But you have to earn stuff. You can't expect to be entitled to get it.
Of course.
Okay, and I think, let's say you take Dante, what's his name? Dante Martin.
Yep.
And that kid tonight, what's his name? Bowers.
Yeah.
Bowers.
And a few more.
Anthony Bowen.
I think they need to work more and perfect their craft. Then they have a point. If you put somebody in there that's not a POC and has less but gets more, they might have a point. But see, when I don't know, because I am not a person of color, so I'm coming from a place that I don't know what I'm talking about. So I can't say how you feel or how she feels. I can say that if you want to turn it around just a little bit, if you look at pro football, it is 70% or more African American, correct?
Yeah.
But that's because they can play ball. And basketball is probably more because they can play ball. So if say a white guy is complaining because he don't get the chance because he's white, you know what people would say? Shut the fuck up. That's what they tell him. You know, because he said, well, all the owners are white. Yes, that's true. I got that. But they get paid a lot of money. So this is what I hate when things like wrestling, they get caught up in the diversity argument or debate. I don't think there's a winner there. I don't think the company wins. I don't think people who are backing diversity, they actually win. I think you put the company on the defensive and they don't know what to do. You just mentioned Tony Khan stuck his foot in his mouth, but I don't think he knows what to do.
Well,
he may seek some advice. I hope he calls me. I'll tell him. By God.
This is the thing is like Big Swole was in an interview. She was asked questions and she gave her honest opinion. And then Tony Khan took it upon himself to tweet this out tonight when all he had to do was just ignore it.
Yeah, he should have done
Literally,
that.
all he did tonight was shine a massive spotlight on that interview. Feel free to do that to any of my interviews in the future.
Okay, do you
Please.
think it's going to become a big deal?
I think that he has taken away a lot of his goodwill among professional wrestling fans. At least the professional wrestling fans with a good memory. If you have a good memory, you're gonna remember when someone shows themselves and keeps showing themselves. And this is just the latest example. This is kind of like he said. You brought up the LJ situation. Just any type of criticism, it comes off very defensive.
And what is the LJ situation?
Well, Rick, when you were there, so I guess you.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was talking about. Is like she started asking a question about the women's division in AEW, and she was in the middle of asking a question, and then he completely cut her off on this conference call in front of like hundreds of reporters. And proceeded to basically mansplain everything that he did to help the all-women's pay-per-view for NWA. Didn't even let her finish asking the question, and then completely just blew her off and got defensive because he thought that there was even a tiny hint of criticism in the question. It was just a bad look then. Tonight was a bad look. And we are already over the 30 minutes. I said I was going to cut us off, but
I tried to tell you no, but you had to get into this subject, Rick.
Well, we got to get into one more. We got to get into one more because it only happened a few days ago, but it feels like it happened 10 weeks ago. Toni Storm no longer with WWE.
My favorite.
Toni Storm is no longer with WWE. Apparently, she got sick of all the pies, and she up and quit. According to reports, a lot of people were confused when this broke that she was no longer with WWE. Thought it would be really weird for them to release her. Turns out they only released her because she asked for her release. There were some things about possible burnout situations. Maybe she wasn't excited or thrilled with her creative. I think that was speculative, but considering her women's title feud was built around a pie or 2 or 10,
yeah, could be it.
That might be it. Dutch, when you found out that not only that Toni Storm was no longer with WWE, but that she left, she decided, I don't want to be with the company anymore, paid her own way home, and left the company after having a title feud. Your reaction, sir?
Well, I'm actually happy for her because she said, I don't want to do it, and because I don't want to stress myself out. But you got to think one thing. Tony Khan is sitting up there in Jacksonville or sitting down there in Jacksonville. And if she had a conversation with him, which is against the rules, if you're with contract with one company and you're talking to another company, is that breach of contract or what is that called?
Maybe tampering, some legal
tampering.
Yeah, maybe
that's what illegal it is.
Tampering, yeah.
But I think she may have had other problems. I'm happy for her. If she's happier being at home in Australia, is that where she's from?
Yeah.
New Zealand?
New Zealand.
Okay. If she's happier being there, more power to her. But I don't think she up and quit was just throwing her wrestling career away. I think she has plans on going to AEW. And AEW, I think they can only take so many. How much money is he going to shell out for people to sit home?
That was another one of the things that Big Swole brought up was the fact that they keep bringing in new talent and pushing other people back down the line. And Tony, I mean, they just brought in.
That has nothing to do with diversity, really.
No, there were a lot.
You can look at it. You can look at it.
She mentioned a lot of different things, just like getting new talent, other talent coming down the. Getting less talent, the women's not getting enough talent when, you have 6 hours of television and they're only getting 30-minute matches and, stars that are being put on AEW Dark and only getting 3 minutes in the ring per week. And that's their only 3 minutes. It's on the YouTube show. There was a lot of stuff that she put in it. So there was a lot for Tony Khan to address and take away from it. All he took away from it was the headline. It felt like really felt like
he did
he responded
but
to the headline.
As far as her talking about these people coming in and she didn't and pushing the other people, I mean, that's a creative complaint, and I bet she's never booked a card in her life. So, and he's feeling like he needs these people. He's the one shelling out the money. So, and without him, they'd be no company. So I don't know. I don't know what to feel about this.
Should he have said that about her wrestling? That's my biggest issue. I felt like I got what he was saying with the first part of his tweet. I got what he was saying with the hashtag AEW Street Fight Tonight. It's that one sentence that totally is just, it's so embarrassing that this is the president of your company. Like that's just so petty. It's no reason for it, in my opinion.
Especially when he's on the record, as I read, saying that he's a fan of her in-ring ability just earlier this year. I know March feels like 10 years ago. It was only 9 months ago, for crying out loud. And to play devil's advocate here in Tony Khan's defense as far as bringing in talent, there's no way he had to know that all of this talent was going to become available over the last few months. No way. And you can't just look at guys like Andrade and Bryan Danielson and CM Punk, who he was courting for 2 years at that point. You can't look at all these dudes and go, sorry, our roster's full because we have Dante Martin and some of these other guys. No, you're still an upstart company who's trying to put on the best product you can, and you have fans who want to see these guys in the ring. So, yeah, you're going to bring them in. Would I like to see a little bit more addition to the women's division, even though they have some people coming up? Absolutely, because I want to see Ember Moon in AEW. So please, can we get that done? That would be great.
Man, Tina probably saw that tweet and's like, nah, I ain't going there.
Well, he's got the girls division, I think, exactly where it needs to be. Yeah. It's hot right
It's
now.
getting there. It's definitely getting there. It's been a slow build, but it's
a lot
miles
hotter
ahead
than,
of where
than WWE has it. Right or no?
WWE has all the talent, but they don't know how to book them. Save the life.
Well, that's part of it. But see, the talent in WWE may be better, but it's according to how you book them.
No.
It's according to what story you put out there, and creative handles what they got. If you don't know how to handle it, then it's no good. That's my feeling on it.
All right, guys. I promised you I'd let you get to the ball drop. It is 11:42 p.m.
See, 11 minutes over.
Man, this is our shortest show ever, though. 37 minutes. Thank God there was no SmackDown tonight. We all will be back.
Seriously, I couldn't handle SmackDown tonight.
Yeah, I didn't watch.
I would have shot myself.
Cobra Kai
with a BB gun, but
it was 2 hours of Becky Lynch. I watched the entire thing. She made it bearable.
Did they make a show?
Yeah, it was on FS1. That's probably why you didn't see it.
No, I went over there to it, and they said no, it's not there.
I don't know.
So I don't know.
And
then I write Rick, wanting to get some advice, and he says, "Don't you know?" He sounded like Vince. "Don't you know what the hell's going on? Get with the program." I thought I was back in the army or something.
You know, I can.
I'd have been close to him. I'd have reached over and just
actually pull up the
out
conversation and show exactly what I wrote back. If you.
All right. I didn't know it wasn't on. Or nobody told me.
Honestly, I wasn't quite sure because I've been gone the last 2 weeks. I still haven't been caught up on the last two SmackDowns. Hey,
all right,
Dave,
guys, listen.
tomorrow,
Happy New Year.
Yep.
Happy New Year, everyone.
We appreciate everybody who watched all 39 minutes. All 102 of you are still hanging around. I see everybody in the chat.
That's more than last week, wasn't it?
103 right now.
That's Christmas Eve.
Appreciate everybody who has watched throughout the entire year. All three of us are going to be back next year, next week on Friday, breaking down this new SmackDown era that's going to be happening in 2022. Are we going to have a new Universal Champion next week, guys? Real quick, yes or no? Is it going to be Brock or Roman who's going to be holding the Universal title come next week when we're on the air?
Yes, I might as well say that. It's a big show. They built for it.
I think Brock wins. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yep. See you guys. Bye.
Remember, Cody and Tony Khan don't like black people.